I really think online education is superior to the classroom in a variety of ways.
Andrew Vanden Heuvel can easily compare the two. He teaches advanced placement high school and college courses, both online and in person.
One is, I think, of the individualized instruction. I mean, having taught in a traditional classroom, I know I can try to give an individualized lesson to each of my students in the classroom, but that's really just not practical in a classroom with 20 or 30 kids. Right. But in an online setting, every kid is logging in, right, and they're interacting with content, but that content can be changed. The pace at which they work can be changed.
Andrew teaches for Michigan Virtual School, an online program designed to serve every type of students, not only those needing help completing a course, but also those who need a bigger challenge.
And it's the students who are so advanced that they've exhausted all the courses that are at their school, and so you know, they can get more options when they come to turn to a virtual setting.
Those virtual settings are getting more popular. Michigan Virtual High School students enrolled in 100 courses 10 years ago. Now students are enrolled in nearly 15,000 courses. So if online learning brings so many benefits and serves all students, why isn't every district taking advantage of it? Mackinac Center Education Policy Director Mike Van Beek did a study on virtual learning earlier this year. He sees plenty of room for growth.
There are many restrictions to using online learning, a lot of them based on the fact that we fund students still, in part based on where they're seated. So, you know, in order to expand this fully, we need to rethink the way that we fund schools. And we need to get rid of some of the legislative enrollment caps that we have on virtual charter schools. We have even limitations to students who are in conventional districts, how many classes they can take online. So we need to rethink some of those things in order to expand this valuable option.
The Detroit Free Press says of the 800 traditional schools and charter schools in the state, around 171 provide online options on the middle school and high school levels. Critics say the virtual environment could isolate students, detaching them from the instructor and classmates. However, Andrew says from his experience, online education acts as an equalizer, breaking down the biases of teachers and students.
I don't know which of my students come from poor urban districts or which come from wealthy suburban districts. I don't know which students are 12 years old and are so accelerated that they're in this class. I don't know which students are taking this class for the 5th time because they failed it 4 times before. And so we have all those perspectives represented in an online classroom, but I don't have any bias against any of those students. And so I'm teaching them all just the same, and they can still be enriching each other.
Online educators say the virtual classroom not only brings benefits, but more accountability. The Michigan Virtual School produces an annual legislative report, which looks at how all the enrolled students are performing.
Last year was 84%. But we also could do more finer grain analysis where we go down to the content area and look at how they were doing in English specifically, how they were doing in math. And then finally, we also try to disaggregate it completely for students and for stakeholders to be able to see in an appendix where when they can look up any particular course, see how many numbers we had in there, see how the performance of students were in there so that they can make informed decisions about how they use Michigan Virtual School.
Traditional schools also collect and report the same information, but virtual schools can see a lot more.
If our teachers really want to see things like, you know, how many times is this kid logging in, when are they logging in, what days of the week are they present, where are they going when they're in there, all of that can be found out by the teacher to be used to inform instruction, and it can be used as a researcher to kind of figure out the patterns and tendencies that kids are going.
Online instructors continually upgrade safeguards to ensure all students are being challenged by the curriculum. They say the goal is to produce a well-rounded student prepared for the 21st century marketplace.
I have students right now who are saying, I'm planning on going to Purdue for engineering, I'm planning on going to U of M to study physics. And these students are being prepared for the most excellent university educations.
Online education is not limited to students. The Michigan LearnPort provides professionals the services they need for quality control.
We provide online professional development services for teachers, parapros, bus drivers, food service workers, literally anybody who works for a K-12 school district. We have a whole host of online professional development courses that they can access, most of which are at no cost to the teachers.
For districts, this is a cost-effective and time-effective way to meet requirements like bloodborne pathogen and HIPAA-FERPA requirements and those kind of things. Instead of calling all of your employees and the pay that requires, the time, they can meet that requirement at home when it's convenient for them.
Educators say virtual learning is not simply putting textbooks and lectures online, but rather it's a way to broaden and deepen the student's total experience.
One of the biggest advantages, obviously, is in the integration and use of multimedia. Given the fact that our courses are provided online or delivered online, the students have access through the computer to a number of different multimedia assets, whether they be videos, audio, podcasts, or interactive sorts of media pieces that they have to engage with in order as part of their learning process.
How many of us, when we go to work every day, sit with 30 of our peers and look ahead at an expert who tells us things all day, right? No, we're online figuring things out we haven't encountered before. We're working together authentically, not copying someone else's answers, but trying to solve real problems.
By using tools students are already using, online educators say the virtual classroom is more stimulating, less distracting, and less boring. Experts say online learning may not only be a luxury, soon it may be a necessity.
I think we need to look at providing more options for students and parents, and ultimately, if you think about the number of students that are dropped out, and we graduate as a state around 70% of our students, which means there's a lot of kids that aren't accessing any educational service.